Hey y'all, this is the Cedar Hill Road Race, the Cat 3-4 field, and as you can see by all the pink behind me, we've got a ton of United guys in the race. There's 10 of us. We've got a lot of manpower, a lot of options, and I was telling Mark, who's right in front of me, before the race, like, hey man, I'm gonna go attack right from the whistle, kind of mix things up. Well, apparently 3 other people had the exact same idea, and so they all just go flying away, and I actually missed clipping in my pedal, so my right foot is just sitting like on my pedal upside down until I finally get some space to coast for a second, flip it around, get my shoe clipped in, and carry on through the race. And so the first couple laps, they're real strung out, just the pace is high, but not a whole lot happens. It's just first lap jitters. So a few laps in, I've got some space on the right to move up, and about this time of the race, I want to start putting in little attacks. Nothing that I really want to stick or to really get away, but just to hurt people, to kind of wear them down so that towards the end of the race we have more options. So you can see everyone's lined up on the left, and so I just move up the right side of the road where they're not immediately on my wheel, and then just send it up this hill. And I don't really get any space, like someone was right behind me and I think probably saw me kind of get ready. So I don't have a gap per se, but it's a long hill, and if I can keep this pace going the entire way up, the pack is going to get strung out. And so you can see it starting to happen. It's more single file. The heavier guys are really hurting. And then this guy on my right side, on the camera's left, starts moving up to kind of counter this. I don't want to let him get away, but I also don't want to be the first one to chase it, so I give it a second, and luckily another person comes in, and so I get on his wheel. And then the pace continues, and now we've crested over the flat part, and everyone else is still going up the hill, and so we get a big gap going on there. And this kind of carries on for a little bit of this course. They kind of catch back up with us after the downhill, and the race is really strung out. You can see that there's a lot of gaps, in the line of people. But then we get back to the start-finish area, and the whole thing kind of just bunches back together, and the group's together again. So maybe a lap or two later, I'm setting a pace on the front of the group, and Marcus goes to the other side of the road and attacks, which is perfect. And I don't really telegraph that I'm blocking, but I just sort of keep the pace about the same. I don't want people to, instantly have the alarm bells go off. Oh, this guy's blocking, let's get him off. But the Bicycles Plus guy here knows what's up. He knows what I'm doing. And so he moves over and just kind of moves me off the front and lifts the pace ever so slightly. But I try and stay close to the front because I want to be able to react, disrupt the chase a little bit and just be able to respond if I can. So I'm still third wheel, hanging out. No one else really wants to move forward. I think they're just thinking Marcus is a solo flyer, but he eases up right after this turn, so I use that opportunity to just jump off and instantly get a lot of space. And I'm hoping that this is going to scare people behind us, thinking, oh, there's 2 teammates up there, we can't let that go, and motivate them to chase really hard. Again, the point here, this early in the race, it's not to stay away, it's just to make them chase and get tired. But I really screwed up catching Marcus, because you can see I just fly by him way too fast. Like I should have slowed down or yelled at him before I got to him. And so Marcus has to dig really deep, and I have to back off just so that we can, get back together again and start working. Which probably screwed this up. Like this move could have lasted a lot longer and made people work a lot harder. But instead, we lost several seconds worth there. And by the time we get to this hill, everything always bunches up, at least in terms of distance, because we all go up the hill at about the same speed. And so I look behind, I see that we're pretty much caught, and I say, you know what, that's fine. We got people to chase, and that was the point. Let's just hang on and attack again a little bit later. So another lap goes by. I'm kind of in the middle of the pack. I'm feeling pretty rested. These 2 guys are moving up on the left, and so I follow that just to get a free ride up to the front. And then you'll see this guy in like a yellow and white kit jump off to the side and attack. This is like the same spot where Marcus attacked the last time. And I've got a clear shot to follow him, so I figure I can't not do it. And so I jump off and I follow him. Rob, you see, was on the front, and so he's not going to chase, at least not from the front. And there's enough hesitation with everyone else where we get away. So I've got a good gap. I'm going to try and get up with this guy, follow his wheel, and try and not do what we did last time and just totally screw it up. So I ease up back to him, and by this point, a few people have organized a chase. You can see there's 1 or 2 who've split off from the group there to follow us. So the guy in the blue kit there is Ashton. I'm right behind the Park Place guy who's in front of me. So Ashton catches up. Isaac is in the white helmet behind him, and then there's a bunch of space behind us. So it's looking good. It's looking like we're going to have a small 4-ish, 5-ish man group, and that's manageable. That's perfect. So they both pass me, Ashton goes from bridging to being on the front. I get third wheel, which is awesome. Free ride. Kind of scoping out the back. Isaac is trying really hard to get on. I don't think he ever quite makes it. Once we get to the hill, he ends up getting distanced. But we are getting some space. And so I don't want a repeat of what happened last time with Marcus, because I saw how going at a pretty aggressive pace up the hill, the group still caught us like easily. And so I sensed the pace start to slow down. We're only going 14 miles an hour here. And so I say, come on guys, like we've got to really book it up this hill. Like it's going to hurt, but it's going to pay off. If we can really just smash the hill, we're going to get a lot of distance from them that it'll be hard for them to get back later. And so I go flying off and push real too hard, and they start yelling at me like, come on man, like we're going to work with you, but you got to let us catch your wheel. Okay, and so now they catch on. They say, go, go, go. I look behind, make sure we're all good. Continue lifting the pace. You see Isaac drifted off back there, so it's just 3 of us, and we've got a good amount of daylight between us and the rest of that pack. Now, all through that downhill and like the turns and uphill coming out of that, we don't really get a lot of distance from the rest of the group. They just stay right back there at 10 seconds. And so I think if we put in one really heavy pull on this like start-finish straight, where the group tends to get a little bit more disorganized in their chase, then we can kind of seal the deal and make this the breakaway of the day. But so in doing that, we dropped the guy, the Park Place guy, which means that now it's just me and Ashton, and we've got over half the race left. This is a long time to be in a breakaway, but at least I'm not alone. Like, we've got one other guy. And so we start trading poles and really get into a good rhythm. Like, we're working really, really well together, and it doesn't take long before we're a good 30 seconds ahead of the rest of the group, and we really can't see them through most of the race. But there is a problem here, which we're going to see right now, and that's that Ashton is able to take this big downhill turn a lot faster than I can, kind of for a mix of reasons, in that I'm very light and I'm also very scared. So this is a huge blind spot for me. Like, this is potentially a big race-losing weakness, because I know that he knows I can't take that turn as fast as he can, and he could use that against me, come out of that turn fast and then, try and drop me. So I start trying to think of ways that I can turn the tables on him before he turns the tables on me. And so, of course, we have that big hill on the other side of the course. And what I noticed as we went through this thing like 15 times together is that several times going up that hill, just in the course of kind of my normal pull, my normal pace up that hill, I would get a lot of distance between them. And then at the top of the hill, I would have to ease up a little bit and let him back on the wheel. Because it was too early in the race to drop him. I didn't want to do the entire thing by myself. So in order to stay together, I'd ease up. So maybe later in the race, I can go up that hill at a heavy pace, but not ease up and not let him back on the wheel. So here we are with 5 laps to go, and I'm going to give this a shot. I figure this is a good time to start trying things. I'm either going to tire him out or drop him. We'll see what happens. And so I start setting this really heavy, 550, over 500 watts up the hill. And it doesn't take long. You see the distance sort of start to form. I drift across the road just a little bit to kind of throw him off, and he's a little slow to follow. So at this point, he has no draft for me up the hill, and that gap is really, really growing. At this point, it turns into a mental game. Like, he's at max capacity going up that hill. And I turn around, I see that he's far behind, and so I go, all right, this is not the time to ease up. This is the time to charge forward, because I need to get as much space from him now, knowing that on that downhill, he's going to make up a lot of space back on me again. So, I need to take all the distance that I can, because I'm going to lose a lot of it on the turn. And so here we are going through the 180. This is immediately after that hill. And you can see he's going to pop out from that bush in just a second, right there. So I am still not away. I need to really seal the deal and get him out of there. So after we go through this last turn, it's just heavy, heavy, heavy. I've got to get rid of him because, man, if he catches me, it's going to be real awkward in the breakaway, being the guy who just tried to drop you and failed. All right, now crossing the finish line for the last time, they're ringing the bell, and you'll hear my daughter yell, "Go, Daddy." Awesome. Put a big smile on my face. But what's happening in this last lap behind me that I don't know is that the pace behind has picked up tremendously. Like, it was just an attack fest the entire time. And at this point, I had just kind of gone into take it easy mode. Like, don't crash, finish the race, you've got it. And I've had this motorcycle behind me, and I've always assumed that if there's a motorcycle behind you, there is no rider at least for a good 30 seconds behind. And so I don't know if he didn't see the guy behind him or whatever, but Mike Stanley from Bicycles Plus is hauling ass, come to catch me, and I have no idea that he's there. I am just kind of enjoying the moment, finishing the race all by myself, but he is booking it. And I do the tacky thing of sitting up across the finish line and pointing at the United logo on my jersey. And man, he luckily kind of ends up his chase right as I'm crossing the finish line. So I finished first, I won the race, but not by much.